All right, y'all. I cannot explain to you how many people wanted me to react to this testimony, and for good reason. I guess it's a very, very, very great testimony. And I haven't watched it yet. I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched the full video yet, but I did come across just a few of these clips on Instagram, on TikTok. And I want to react to these clips, all right? So let's get straight into it.
Those who were living in sin. You know what sin does? Me who came from darkness, from the kingdom of darkness, I know what sin could do to the people who were in charge. That's why I avoid it.
You know it even more than the people in church because they've taken it for granted. Oh, you know.
See, you know, you when you put on like I'm dressed,
Yes.
you have also a spiritual garment. You have what you're dressed in. Now, when you sin, you give that garment to demons. They take it.
Wow.
So many Christians today, they lost their garment.
Wow.
They lost it.
So they're spiritually naked.
When Jesus comes back, he's not going to come back for your name. He's coming for a church without
Spot.
for a garment. We shall be dressed. That's why in Revelation say, who are those dressed in white?
And you know, Jesus says to the church as well, you're poor, miserable. It's all about being naked as well. And blind.
And blind. So many people today, they are praying. But because they are naked, they can't be allowed into the presence of God.
Their prayer is ineffective.
They're not effective because it's not how you look, it's how you're dressed. That you know your rank and your status in the spirit. So the naked, there's a group of people who, because of sin, they lost their garment. They are preachers. They would stand them on the pulpit and preach, and I come in a meeting and I see them naked. All how they were created, the body, their physical and their spiritual body is naked because of sin. And they're busy jumping. God is great, but they're naked. You know, and because of that, their protection, the angel of the Lord on their life turns away from them.
Ooh.
It's like the angel cannot look at you because the angel is supposed to serve you, but because you are naked, he can't look at you. He turns away from you. And meaning when he turns away from you, you are at the mercy of the enemy. Now, at that moment, Satan will not destroy you because you are an asset. You're going to be a gate to destroy others.
Because of your influence and your position in the church.
Because of your sin, now your sin will be a gate to defile everyone around you.
So that preacher, for example,
Or minister, or intercessor, or singer.
what they're doing, from the platform they're doing it, their sin is being amplified. So
It's the anointing.
So it's an impartation. So are you saying the impartation is not just the laying on of hands, but see, this is why Christians need to be concerned about who they're listening to.
I mean, that part for sure. Here's the thing about like watching clips. It's hard for me to understand the context of what they're talking about. Because although I do see the point that he is conveying, I also am cautious because Christ died for our sin. The debt is paid. But I also understand willingly continuing to abuse the grace that is given to us by God and continuing to sin, consciously abusing the grace. And then just saying, oh, well, you know, I'm covered, I'm good, I'm a Christian, God understands, God knows my heart. I think that's a very dangerous place to be as a Christian. But I don't think that we should be walking on eggshells, afraid of, oh, well, you know, what if I sin? What if I, did this? What if I did that? Because we need to have full assurance in the finished work that happened on the cross. And there's nothing that we can do to clean ourselves up. Even the best that we can do is still filthy rags. our best that we hand to God is still filthy rags. We have to be washed by the blood. So I see the points that he's trying to make, but once again, I might have to watch the whole thing. It's just, oh man, it's so, am I tripping? It's just a long interview. This full interview is like 3 hours long. I don't know. If y'all really want me to watch it, like, and well, I shouldn't be saying that because I know y'all really want me to watch it. I'm just over here procrastinating. Look, let's go to the next clip. That was explains what sin does. Okay, let's go to this one right here.
Of the Lord that brings deliverance. And that voice of the Lord comes from the life of consistency in prayer. If you are consistent in prayer, if you persist in prayer, the Lord will begin to speak to you and you're able to discern his voice. So during ministry, you are able to discern the voice of the Lord that started in your prayer closet. So if you don't have that prayer life, it's hard to hear the voice of the Lord. And without the voice of the Lord, you cannot bring deliverance. So to hear the voice of the Lord, you go through cleansing. Cleansing from what? Cleansing from uncleanness. What uncleanness? Iniquities. Those who...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is what I tell people all the time. If you're struggling to hear the voice of God, if you don't understand, is it God? Is it my thoughts? I don't understand. I'm confused. Let's go back to the basics. Are you really taking that time to sit down, uninterrupted, phone out of your hand, out of sight? Are you really dedicating time to just sit in his presence and just hear from God? I used to sit in my car because my house was just so loud. I would get so distracted. So I would go in my car, no AC, and just sit there and pray for like 45 minutes. Sometimes a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer. But like I said, no AC. So I'm roasting, I'm sweating. But I'm praying, I'm hearing from God, and I have a little journal, and I'm journaling. And I actually began to like write my prayers down. And as I'm writing my prayers down, God is speaking to me. And then I'm writing down what God is saying as well. And then I think of something else that I want, or somebody else I want to pray for, or something else that I'm praying for, and I write it down. And God begins to speak to me about that, and I write it down. Whatever works for you, but you got to get into a habit to be consistent of seeking God through prayer, through worship, through the Bible. Make that a consistent habit, because in doing that, you're learning how to discern his voice and what God would and wouldn't say to you. You're learning to discern the tone that God uses when he communicates with you. And so when people ask, is that the devil or is that God? You should know right off the bat who it is. But sometimes we got to take it back to the basics and go back to prayer, worship, reading the Bible, just spending time with God, just sitting in quietness and just asking God to come, to refill you right now in this place. Give us a fresh outpouring of your spirit, Lord. We want to experience you. Just sitting and doing that, you'll be surprised by how much he pours into you. I think there's one more. Let's see.
And let me talk to someone watching right now. There is a cycle you need to break. There is something in your life that you need to break because you're going to create a pattern. Maybe for the next 10 days or 20 days, you wake up from midnight to 3 a.m. and you are praying in tongues, you're worshiping the Lord. You may not know what you're doing, but you're creating a pattern. And that pattern, that cycle you're creating, the Lord will use that to deliver you. Or the Lord will cause people you do not know to pick you up in the spirit and pray for you and connect with you. Because, sometimes when you're praying, you don't know what you're doing. You start praying and you may not know that where you are not, other people are picking you up in the spirit.
Like you're sending signals in the realm of the
It's like a tower.
And intercessors are picking it up.
Intercessors are picking you up now.
All over the world.
And before you know, you are in a network of intercessors.
Ooh.
You have connected with them and you don't know. And you're just praying in tongues, you're worshiping, not knowing who is picking you up in the spirit. And in that network of they that pick you, one of them, the Lord will cause them to meet you and help you where you need help.
I think, you know, something I'm reminded of is, you know, even the fact that we can sit down and not know what to pray. And the Spirit is praying for us. The Spirit can interpret just the moans and the groans and just the angst and our anxieties, and the Spirit can discern all of that and is praying for us. I think it really just goes to like the posture of our hearts. Are we intentionally posturing our hearts towards God every single day? Are we taking time out to intentionally sit down and make sure that the posture of our heart is pointed towards God so that we can be open and receptive to whatever he wants us to do, whether we like it or not? Are we open to that, to receive that healing? Or are we just kind of looking at things from like a pessimistic attitude? I don't know. Should I watch this full interview? I was just kind of hesitant because it was so long, but I think it would be interesting to watch the whole thing. Let me know if y'all would watch it down below, or, you know, give this video a like if you would watch it, and then, you know, I could kind of base my decision on that. There was one more. This one says, I'll skip that one. Anyway, if y'all want me to watch the full 3-hour video, like this video. If this video gets, I'm going to do the YouTuber thing. If this video gets 10,000 likes, then I'll watch the 3-hour video and I'll post it on this channel. All right. All right, y'all. I'm out.